All right, everybody, we're back for another week of high school football predictions. I think we did pretty well week one. Well, I did pretty well.
No, I did well. Jeez, you struggled mightily. Good luck this week.
We'll go to the numbers, but that's beyond the point. Now let's focus on our second week here. We're going to start right off with Central Catholic traveling to Methuen. Central Catholic coming off a huge victory. They just upended St. John's Prep for the first time in years. Methuen coming off a tough loss after an encouraging opener, coming off a very tough loss to Tewksbury. Central is looking as good as anybody right now.
Yeah, the one thing that maybe could give Methuen some hope would be maybe a bit of a letdown coming off the big St. John's Prep win, and Methuen kids are always sky high for the Central matchup. Central's only given up 20 points in 2 games versus very tough competition, and Methuen was shut out last week, so I have to go with the Raiders in that one.
Yeah, I've been very impressed by what I've seen by Central this year. I do feel like Methuen is improving, but I have to go with Central in this one too. Now we're going to go over to Haverhill. Haverhill is hosting Westford Academy. As you pointed out to me earlier, Westford Academy's coach is a former Haverhill star. I know it's Gagne. I'm drawing a blank.
Adam Gagne, yep.
Adam Gagne. Should have written his first name down too. Haverhill coming off a good win against North Andover. They seem to be finding their way a little bit right now.
Yeah, Westford, a quality foe. If you're looking to see some good talent there, 6'6" quarterback Connor Degenhardt is committed to Holy Cross, and he apparently has the goods. He threw 4 TD passes last week. Should be a real good one. I don't know. I'll maybe go with Westford based on going to the Cross.
Intriguing thing that gets me is the Chelmsford. Their 2 wins are against Chelmsford and Drake, 2 programs that are down. I'm going to go with Haverhill in this one. Maybe it's just from talking to them and going to their practice, but I don't know. I like them. If ever there was a team that needed to win, Mike, I might have said this last week, it's Andover High. Andover's coming off just an absolute heartbreaker of a loss. They thought they'd, were all set up for a tying touchdown, extra point or onside kick gets overturned. They end up losing to Bill Ricca after obviously a first week really tough loss to BC High. They are hosting Lawrence. Andover probably is going to come through the win in this one.
You would think so. That they've had a lot of struggles, and it's been a trying year thus far in the early going. But when you have E.J. Perry and Dan Gemmel, that writes a lot of ills. So.
Yeah, they were flat out awesome last week. Speaking of teams that need victories, going to the Mac Plaque game here. You got Pinkerton traveling to Londonderry. Pinkerton is coming off another tough loss, but they have a good opponent right now. Londonderry scuffling their 0-3. They've been outscored 107-33 in their 3 games. Pinkerton looks like it'll come through and pull off a victory in this one.
Yeah, again, the rivalry games tend to be a bit on the closer side because the Londonderry kids will run through walls against Pinkerton. Pinkerton maybe doesn't have one of its elite teams based on the early going, but there's always some talent there, and looks like the Astros should be able to take this one.
Wouldn't be surprised if this is a Pinkerton team that ends up finding itself and still has a good run. Teams that are already on a good run, Wyndham traveling to Sohegan. Wyndham's 3-0. They haven't really been touched so far. They're going to Sohegan, which is 1-2, and I can't see Wyndham getting tested again in this one.
Yeah, I can't either. I don't think the Jags will take it 58-7 like last week. But when you have Victor Pizzotti, the man-child in your backfield, you're in good shape.
Pentucket traveling to Bishop Fenwick. My fun fact about this one, it is the rematch of the 2000 EMAS Division IV Super Bowl, which I was a junior on the team.
Yeah, you've mentioned that at time of 46.
Yeah, but it wasn't the one we won. That's the one I usually mention. Pentucket's 1-1 after a rocky opener. They got a good win against Amesbury. Bishop Fenwick's 2-0. They have a win against Hamilton Wenham. I'm leaning a little towards Pentucket in this one.
I think I'm going a little toward Fenwick. I figured they'd blow out Amesbury. Amesbury's really struggling, and then they won comfortably, and it wasn't terribly competitive, but they didn't totally dominate them. Fenwick's got a keeper in Isaiah Cashwell-Doe, 177 rushing yards, 2 TDs last week. I'll say Doe is the difference.
I say he's the difference. Pentucket gets their first real quality win of the season. North Andover is hosting Tewksbury. North Andover coming off a tough loss to Haverhill. Tewksbury again coming off a big win over Methuen. Tewksbury strong again. I think North Andover may be a little bit rebuilding. I'm going to say Tewksbury.
Yeah, well, when I think of football in the Merrimack Valley, I really think of Tewksbury. They don't have the number one tradition. They don't have the number one victories. But you look at per capita, pound for pound, man, those Tewksbury kids come to play and they produce. Enrollment limitations or not. Last week was Will Matovu with 2 TDs, very high in the ESPN Boston statewide rankings. Another good year for Tewksbury, the Redmen take it.
And closing out the Friday slate, we got North Reading hosting Somerville. Both teams are 2-0. Somerville's both their wins are against CAC teams. They're stepping up against the Cal team. North Reading's been rolling so far. I would say North Reading.
Yeah, McCarthy and company improved to 3-0.
We go into Saturday with one of the most intriguing games of the weekend. Timberlane going to Salem. Salem's coming off their biggest win probably since their last state championship. And just, a really convincing victory over Pinkerton. They look great. Timberlane's coming off a really tough loss to an awesome Goffstown team that's the defending champion. Jake Post is a little beaten up. He's expected to play, though, but Salem is as good as anybody right now. I'm starting to think that Josh Savannah might be better than his brother.
Wow, that's
and his brother was good.
That's high praise. And then James LeBlond, 101 yards, 2 interceptions last week. So he's one of those Swiss Army knife type of guys that Coach Pike always seems to have. So, yeah, I think it's probably Salem in that one.
Greater Lawrence at 1-1 is hosting 0-3 Greater Lowell. O.J. Belliard seemed to have a more O.J. Belliard-esque game last week. I tend to think Greater Lawrence is going to take that on.
Yeah, the Gryphons, I was never too good at English. Were crushed by Essex Tech. That doesn't bode well with the Reggies in town, so maybe the Reggies win big.
Gryphons, half bear, half lion? No, half something, half lion, I think. Whittier is hosting Medford. Whittier's 0-2, off to a tough start. Medford's 1-1. I think Medford probably takes this one.
Only thing I know is Ben Antoine in the opener had 37 carries, 248 yards, and 3 rushing TDs. So a quarterback who likes to run the ball. Mustangs take it.
I wildly underestimated Sanborn last week against Manchester West. They came through with a big victory. But they're hosting Conval, which is 2-1 and off to a good start. I think I'm going to go Conval.
Conval can put up the numbers, even though they have a loss, averaging 45 points. Wide receiver Isaac Bacon, one of the state's best. Looks like Conval.
Pelham off to a tough 0-3 start. They're going to Guilford. I think it's probably going to be 0-4 for Pelham.
I don't know. Guilford Belmont is also 0-3, and whenever you get a real small school and they're making it a co-op team to make them make it a little bit more palatable, I think I go with the other team. I'm going with Pelham.
Could Georgetown be the surprise team of the year? They're off to an absolutely awesome start. And I would say they keep rolling against Lynn Tech.
Yeah, after one win last year, who'd have thunk it with looks like they're going to improve to 3-0 this week with Tommy Long working his magic again.
You never do know. And then the Preps open their seasons. Brooks going to Canterbury. I'm just always interested in what Pat Fryermuth does. And Phillips is traveling to Loomis. After talking with Leon, he got me a little hyped up about the Phillips team. There's a lot of local interest.
Leon can get anybody fired up.
That's a good point. TJ Urbanik and stuff. So we'll see what happens in those 2 prep games.
Yeah, well, one thing I do know, Canterbury is coming off a 45-15 win over St. Luke, so could be an intriguing matchup, and maybe Canterbury's even the team in that one.
All right, we shall see. Big weekend of high school football. We'll see it again.